What if your dream was never just a dream? What if the images you carry in silence, the visions that visit you when no one is watching, are not fantasies at all, but biological codes waiting for the right moment to awaken inside you? I want you to stay with this question for a moment, not with your mind, but with your heart, because I know the secret fear you carry, the whisper that says, what if all of this is just an illusion? What if I spend my life waiting for something that will never come? That fear is heavy, and it has followed you for years. It creeps into your quiet hours when the world goes still. It is the fear of waiting for a life that seems forever out of reach. Bruce Lipton reminds us that the subconscious is not just a psychological concept, it is biological software. 95% of who you are in a given day is not the conscious you, but a program written long before you were old enough to choose. Before the age of 7, your biology recorded, like sacred scripture, the beliefs of those around you. It encoded their fear, their limitation, their unfinished story, and this code runs silently beneath your surface, often rejecting the possibilities you now long for because they do not match what was written into your cells so long ago. Can you feel how that might explain why you sometimes sabotage yourself, why the same walls appear again and again, even when your mind insists that you are ready for more? Neville Goddard, in contrast, speaks with a voice that feels like fire wrapped in stillness. He taught that imagination is not entertainment nor fantasy. Imagination is creation. The moment you sustain an inner image with feeling, you begin to rewrite those subconscious codes. You give your biology new orders. You plant a seed that, if nourished, will grow into lived reality. Imagination is not make-believe. It is the soil in which destiny takes root. Hidden within this paradox is a truth most of us have forgotten. Dreams are not random. They are not accidents of a restless mind. They are messages from the future, potentials encoded in the quantum field, whispering to you, inviting you. They do not come from nowhere. They come from who you could become, and that is why they feel both terrifying and familiar, like déjà vu from a life you haven't yet lived. But perhaps your dreams feel frozen. You've tried, you've prayed, you've affirmed, and yet nothing seems to change. You begin to wonder if you were naive to believe. I want to tell you this: your dream is a seed, and seeds do not bloom the day they are planted. Imagine soil still hardened by winter. Imagine a tiny seed resting beneath. It looks lifeless, forgot, but then something happens. The ground begins to thaw, the soil softens, water reaches in, and sunlight, almost invisible at first, warms the hidden seed. Suddenly, what seemed impossible begins to grow. This is how your dream works. Imagination melts the ground. Biology brings the water. Belief is the sunlight, and together they awaken what once appeared lifeless. If you have ever feared that your dream is too big, too fragile, too impossible, I want you to hear this. It is not an illusion. It is a signal, a biological invitation, a whisper from your own future self calling you forward. What you feel stirring inside you is not a mistake. It is not foolishness. It is the universe saying, this is already written within you. Will you allow it to bloom? So let me ask you gently, have you ever looked at your own dream and wondered if it was nothing more than wishful thinking? If so, you are not alone. Type, I am ready, in the comments if you feel that this message is speaking directly to your soul, because acknowledging the dream is the first step in awakening. Your future is not waiting on the world, it is waiting on you. This is only the beginning. In the next chapter, we will look closely at the silent program that blocks your quantum dream. We will see why the very mind that longs for freedom often repeats the chains of the past, and how this can finally be transformed. But for now, sit with this truth. Your dream is not far away. It is already alive within you, waiting for the soil of your belief to soften and the light of your heart to say yes. 1. The silent program, blocking your quantum dream. There is a silence inside you that carries more power than you realize. It is the silence of the subconscious, a deep undercurrent that guides your steps, even when you believe you are choosing freely. Bruce Lipton teaches us that 95% of each day is lived not from conscious creation, but from unconscious repetition. Like a song playing on repeat, the same melodies of thought and emotion loop endlessly, creating the same outcome, the same feeling, the same patterns. You may feel as though you are moving forward, but often you are simply circling the same track over and over again. Think about how many times you have promised yourself change, a new habit, a new thought, a new way of seeing yourself. And yet, almost without realizing, you find yourself back in the same behavior, back in the same emotion, as if drawn by an invisible magnet. That magnet is the subconscious, and it is loyal to the codes written long long ago. It is not against, it is not cruel, it is simply programmed to protect what it knows. And what it knows is the past. This is why affirmations, repeated endlessly, often fall flat. Words are powerful, but when they remain at the level of the conscious mind, they do not reach the soil where change actually grows. If the subconscious does not believe the affirmation, the body does not embody. You may say, I am abundant, but if deep within your cells you carry the opposite code, I am not enough, your biology remains faithful to the old script. The body listens to vibration, not to words. Here is the counterintuitive truth. The harder you try to force the change, the more resistance you await. The very act of straining confirms to your subconscious that the new reality is not natural, not safe, not believable. You may have noticed how effort often leads to exhaustion, and exhaustion to doubt. The cycle reinforces itself, and what you wanted to bring closer slips even further away. If you pause for a moment and look with honesty at your days, you will find thought loops that circle endless. Perhaps it is the thought that you are running out of time. Perhaps it is the feeling that no matter how much you give, it will never be enough. Perhaps it is the silent fear that joy will not last, and loss is always waiting around the corner. These loops are not random. Each one is tied to a deeper belief written into you when you were too young to question, and each belief quietly contradicts the dream you now long for. Picture a garden. You long for flowers, and so you plant them with hope, but beneath the surface, weeds with deep roots remain. They are invisible at first, yet as soon as your flowers begin to rise, the weeds strangle them, pulling the life away. This is how subconscious programs work. It is not that your dream is impossible, it is that the soil has not yet been cleared, and unless the root is touched, the flower cannot survive. The weight of this can feel overwhelming, to know that so much of your life has been lived on autopilot, to realize how deeply old codes resist the new. And yet, within this awareness lies liberation, because once you see the pattern, you are no longer fully inside it. Once you recognize the loop, you create space between the old song and the silence that waits to birth a new one. Let me ask you something that may touch you deep. Have you felt trapped inside a cycle that repeats no matter how much you want to break free? Does it sometimes feel as if there is an invisible script deciding for you, even when your heart longs for more? If so, you are not alone. You are living the silent program, but in seeing it, you are already loosening its hold. Type I am reprogramming in the comments if you feel this truth awakening something within you. And now, having uncovered the hidden soil where so many dreams are cancelled before they even sprout, we can move to another mystery. Why, even after clearing the soil, the flower still takes time to bloom. In the next chapter, we will explore the quiet delay of manifestation and why what feels like waiting is often the deepest form of becoming. 2. The quantum delay. Why dreams take time to materialize. There is a moment in every journey when silence becomes unbearable. You have prayed, you have visualized, you have felt the dream with such intensity that you almost taste it. And yet, the world outside remains still, unchanged, indifferent. Doubt begins to creep in. You ask yourself, why is nothing happening? Have I been deceiving myself all along? The waiting becomes heavy, and with it comes the temptation to abandon the path altogether. Bruce Lipton offers a perspective that can transform the way we see this wait. Manifestation is not instant because biology is not instant. Your cells, your neurons, your hormones, your entire inner orchestra need time to adapt to new instructions. The dream you hold is not just a thought floating in air. It is an energetic signal that must weave itself into your biology. Every cell listens. Every organ recalibrates. Every neuron begins to fire differently. To expect the dream to appear immediately is to ignore the sacred pace of the body's transformation. What you feel as a delay is not failure. It is integration. Just as soil requires time to absorb water before nourishing a seed, your biology requires time to absorb the frequency of your dream before it can express it outwardly. The universe is not withholding. It is synchronous. Your cells are learning the new language you have chosen to speak. And yet, waiting can be painful. The mind interprets silence as rejection. The heart interprets delay as absence. But consider this. When you upgrade a computer's software, the system must shut down before it restarts with new features. For a moment, the screen goes black. There is no signal, no visible progress, only stillness. But hidden beneath that stillness, the entire system is reorganized. The black screen is not a sign of failure. It is a necessary passage into the new. You may find yourself obsessing over outcomes, constantly checking if the dream is near. This very obsession creates dissonance. The more you look for evidence, the more you affirm its absence. Instead, coherence grows when you embody the feeling state of your dream, gently and without strain, in the simplest moments of life, while walking, while cooking, while showering, not as an effort, but as a quiet rehearsal of what already belongs to you. By weaving the feeling into daily life, you invite your biology to treat it as natural, as ordinary, as inevitable. Think of the seasons. No matter how much you beg spring to arrive, the trees will only blossom when winter has completed its work. If you were to judge the bare branches as lifeless, you would miss the truth that life is already flowing within them, unseen. So it is with your dream. The roots are growing in silence, long before the first green touches the air. This is the paradox of manifestation. What appears as delay is the most intimate proof that transformation is happening. The very time you spend waiting is the time your body spends becoming. Your biology is preparing to live a reality that once felt impossible. And when the moment comes, what was invisible will break through as visible, as natural as a flower blooming after winter. I wonder, have you felt this tension? The impatience of waiting, the ache of silence, the suspicion that nothing is moving? If so, you are standing at the threshold of integration, not at the edge of failure. Let this truth breathe inside you. Your dream is not late. Your biology is simply catching up. In the next chapter, we will enter an even more intimate space. We will explore what happens when the body itself resists the dream, when your very flesh trembles as if the dream were a threat instead of a blessing. This is where many turn back, mistaking fear for a final no. But as you will see, fear may be the clearest sign that you are touching the edges of your own becoming. 3. When your body betrays your dream. There are moments when you feel the dream alive in your mind, luminous, full of possibility. And yet, when you bring it closer, when you try to embody, something happens inside your body. Your chest tightens, your breath shortens, sleep becomes restless, fatigue spreads like a shadow. It is as if your own body has turned against you, betraying the very vision you long to hold. You may call it resistance, you may call it fear, and often you judge it as weakness, as laziness, as failure. But what if this reaction was not a betrayal, but a form of protection? Bruce Lipton reminds us that beneath every cell lies a survival program. Your body has been trained for years to see safety, not in expansion, but in the familiar. To the subconscious, even suffering can feel safer than joy, if suffering is what it has always known. So when you move toward the dream, your biology interprets it as danger. The dream threatens the codes of survival, and the body responds with subtle alarms, tension, insomnia, fatigue. These alarms are not signs of failure. They are signs that you are touching the walls of your subconscious. This is where many people give up. They interpret the body's signals as proof that the dream is not meant for them. They say, if it were alive, it would feel easy. If it were right, I would not be afraid. But this is not true. The fear that rises when you reach for your dream is not a barrier to stop. It is evidence that you are stepping beyond the limits of your old self. The body trembles because it is being asked to live a new vibration it has never known before. Look closely at the signal. A faster heartbeat when you think of stepping into the new. A shallow breath when you imagine being seen in your power. A tightness in your chest when you picture love that is safe and whole. These are not warnings to turn back. They are confirmations that you are walking at the very edge of your own evolution. To reframe these sensations is to transform your relationship with your body. Instead of saying, I am in danger, you whisper to yourself, I am expanding. My body is adjusting to a new frequency. Imagine a bird flying freely toward the sky, only to crash against a glass window it did not know was there. The bird believes it is trapped. The barrier feels solid, unbreakable. But the truth is that the glass is invisible, and on the other side, the sky remains open. This is how your body resists your dream. The wall you feel is not real. It is invisible. And once you recognize it for what it is, you can see that the flight was never truly blocked. I wonder, have you felt this invisible wall the moment your body resists the very thing your soul longs for? If so, you are not broke, you are not weak, you are awakening. Your biology is speaking in the only language it knows. And now, you are learning to listen different. Type, I am expanding in the comments if you feel your body has been speaking to you in this way, and let that declaration become the first step in rewriting the story. In the next chapter, we will dive deeper into the quality of energy that fuels desire, because not all wanting is the same. There is a hidden frequency that determines whether your dream grows with ease or collapses under the weight of desperation. Understanding this difference can change the entire path of manifestation. 4. The hidden frequency of desire versus desperation. There is a fine thread almost invisible, that separates the energy of true desire from the energy of desperation. At first glance, they appear the same. Both carry longing, both carry intensity, both carry fire. Yet one expands your world, while the other contracts it. One aligns you with flow, while the other pulls you into scarcity. Many people walk through life believing they are living from desire, when in truth, what vibrates in them is desperation. And desperation always sabotages the very dream it clings to. Bruce Lipton explains that the nervous system listens closely to vibration. When the body feels scarcity, cortisol rises, stress chemistry floods the bloodstream, perception narrows, intuition dims. In this state, even the most beautiful dream begins to feel unreachable. The harder you want it, the further it drifts away. Not because the universe is cruel, but because your biology has entered a state of contraction. Desire opens, desperation closes. This is the unexpected truth. Manifestation is not born from the intensity of your wanting, but from the quality of a desperate wanting is filled with lack, with the silent cry. Without this, I am nothing. A true desire is filled with expansion, with the quiet knowing. This dream is the natural expression of who I already am. The difference may sound subtle, but in frequency, it is everything. Think of music. When you press too hard on the strings of an instrument, the sound is distorted, the melody broken. But when the hand rests with gentle pressure, the strings resonate, the notes are pure, and music flows with ease. So, it is with your dream. Desperation is pressure that suffocates. Desire is resonance that sings. This shift in energy is not theoretical, it is visceral. When you approach your dream with desperation, your body tightens, your breath shortens, your chest feels heavy. But when you approach it with true desire, your body softens, your breath deepens. There is a sense of natural arrival, as if the dream were already here. This is how you know the difference. The body speaks the truth that the mind often disguises. I wonder, can you feel this distinction in your own life? Have you ever noticed that the more you clung to something, the more it slipped away, while the moments you released your grip, everything flowed with grace? This is not coincidence. This is frequency. If this resonates with you, write "I am resonance" in the comments. And let it be an affirmation of the energy you are choosing to embody. Your dream does not ask you to force, it asks you to align. It asks you to meet it not with desperation, but with the quiet dignity of someone who already carries within the seed of what they long for. Because the truth is, you do. And in the next chapter, we will explore why your dreams are not fantasies at all, but evolutionary codes written into your very biology, waiting for the right conditions to awake. Fine. Dreams as evolutionary codes. There is a reason your deepest dreams do not fade, even after years of silence. They return in whispers, in visions, in quiet moments when you thought you had buried, and yet they resurface, alive, insistent, like a pulse that cannot be stopped. Many dismiss these dreams as unrealistic, as if they were fragile fantasies that serve only to distract from the so-called real world. But what if the opposite is true? What if your most sacred dreams are not illusion, but blueprints? What if they carry within them the very codes of your evolution? Bruce Lipton teaches that your biology is not static. Genes do not sit idle, locked into one unchanging destiny. They wait, they listen, they respond. A dormant gene can remain silent for decades, until belief, environment, and emotion provide the signal that awakens it. In this way, dreams are not mere thoughts. They are biological invitations. They are the very impulses that awaken sleeping parts of your DNA. They are not asking if they are possible. They are asking if you are willing to grow into the version of yourself who can live. And here lies the paradox. When the dream comes, it does not simply hand you what you want. It challenges you. It pulls you into the very spaces your current identity resists. It asks you to expand beyond the patterns of the past, to step into emotions you have avoided, to release identities that no longer serve. The resistance you feel is not proof that the dream is impossible. It is proof that the dream requires you to evolve. Imagine a caterpillar. From the outside, its life seems ordinary, limited to crawling and feeding. But within its very cells, there is a hidden blueprint. The imaginal cell, the genetic codes for wing, for flight, for transformation are already present. Even before the cocoon is formed, the dream of the butterfly is not created in the cocoon. It is activated there. The cocoon does not invent wings. It awakens them. So it is with you. Your dream is not fantasy. It is the DNA of who you are becoming. This truth reshapes everything. Your dream is not asking for proof. It is not asking for external validation. It is asking for your permission. It is asking you to recognize that the very resistance you feel is a map. Each fear, Each hesitation, each doubt, points directly to the place where growth is calling. When you stop treating resistance as an enemy and begin to see it as guidance, the path of evolution opens before you. So let me ask, have you ever felt that your dream was too large, too unrealistic, too far beyond the life you know? What if that very feeling is evidence that your dream carries the intelligence of transformation? What if it is not meant to fit into who you already are, but to shape who you are meant to become? If this truth resonates with your soul, write, "I am evolving" in the comments, and let it be a quiet vow to honor the blueprint already alive within you. And now, as we come to the end of this journey, we turn toward the final truth, that your dreams are not distant stars, unreachable and far away, but quantum blueprints already alive in your cell. In the conclusion, we will bring together the wisdom of Bruce Lipton and Joe Dispenza and see how imagination, biology, and energy merge into one profound coherence, the space where your future is not only possible, but inevitable. Conclusion, the biological truth of quantum dream. Your future is already whispering in your cells. We have walked together through silence, through resistance, through waiting, through the hidden frequencies of desire, and into the evolutionary intelligence of your dream. And now we arrive at the deeper truth that holds all of this together. Your dreams are not empty desire. They are not accidents of an overactive imagination. They are quantum blueprints, already seeking expression through your biology. They are the language of the future, spoken softly within the chamber of your cell. Bruce Lipton reminds us that every cell listens. Each one responds to the music of your belief. Change the song, and the body reorients. Change the vibration, and the chemistry shifts. This is not a metaphor. This is the reality of your biology. Your cells are not deaf. They are instruments, and they are waiting for you to play the melody of your dream. Joe Dispenza expands this vision by showing us that imagination, when fused with sustained, elevated emotion, becomes measurable energy. The body radiates an electromagnetic field. This field extends beyond, touching possibilities that already exist within the quantum. When you hold the vision with gratitude, with love, with coherence, the energy you emit becomes a signal. It draws to you experiences that resonate with your inner state. In this way, imagination is no longer a private escape. It becomes a biological and energetic command. The truth is simple, though not always easy to embrace. Manifestation is not about forcing outcome. It is not about demanding from the universe. It is about creating harmony, a coherence between dream, biology, and energy. When the subconscious program shifts, when the body feels safe in the dream, when the frequency of your desire is resonance instead of desperation, then manifestation is not something you chase, it is something you embody. So perhaps you have spent years believing that your dream was a star far away, unreachable, distant, a light you could never touch. But I want you to see it differently now. Your dream is not a faraway star. It is a light already built within you, waiting for you to turn toward. The light has always been there. It is your own hesitation that has kept you looking elsewhere. And the moment you decide to face it, the path ahead is illuminated. Sit with this affirmation, and if you feel moved, repeat it softly to yourself. I am alive. I am ready. My dream is already alive within me. And if these words have touched you, if something inside you has awakened to the truth of your own quantum dream, let your final act be a declaration. Write lighthouse in the comments, not as a signal to me, but as a vow to yourself. A vow that from this moment forward, you will remember that your dream is not far away. It has always been whispering from within.